If you clicked on this video because you are tired of hearing you need multiple sources of income from every financial influencer out there, you're in the right place. I'm about to reveal the truth about sources of income. And no, it's not about juggling 5 side hustles at once. Stick with me because by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to build a real financial stability via multiple sources of income without burning out. Let's dive in. Hey, welcome back to the third Bara. And as you can see, my current portfolio value is 488,643. Currently, the unrealized gains is in the negative 12,843. And my estimated dividend for this year is around 23,612. You guys may have noticed in my previous video, this was 26. I'm still not too sure if they did a miscalculation, but I need to dig into that a bit further. But the dividend yield is 4.8 and the amount estimated is 23,612. But this is just estimate. By the end of the year, I will tell you exactly what I got for 2025. In fact, I'll take a note. I'll look back at my portfolio for 2024 and see exactly what was my dividend income. So in this view, what you're seeing is the year to date comparison between my holdings, my portfolio in red, and in white is the US market. I like to make that comparison since people seem to be obsessed with investing in the US stock market here in Trinidad when we have our own stock market. So what you can see is that early in the year, the US stock market, of course, those tech stocks rose and was doing much better than my portfolio. But about a month ago, those rumors of the Trump tariffs hit and the US stock market crashed and crashed. But from a local point of view, my portfolio remained relatively steady. So as you can see, there's an obvious benefit in not trying to choose one market over the other, but there's an obvious benefit in having stocks in both local and in foreign, in the US stock market, if you have that capability, because it would not be impacted in the same way by current news events. But this is just in the short term. In the long term, this doesn't matter. This value doesn't matter. Your portfolio value in the short term will jump high or it can wind low. It doesn't really matter because we are here for the long run. So, who am I talking to today? You're probably someone who's working a job. Like me, I work a normal job as well. Maybe it's an 8 to 4, 9 to 5, maybe it's a 12-hour shift. It doesn't matter. You're working a full time job and you're wondering how to get ahead financially. You've seen these Instagram gurus flexing their 7 streams of income, and you're thinking, I can barely manage one job. What am I doing wrong? I get it. And I'm here to tell you, no, you're not doing something wrong. You're not failing. The objection you might have right now is, but isn't having more sources of income better? And sure, that sounds great on paper and it sounds great on social media as well. But here's a catch. Most people crash and burn trying to grow everything at once. And we all know these people. They selling Avon, they selling cell phones, they hustling taxi, they have a full-time job, they doing they playing real estate realtor, they trying to sell you this, they doing that. And after a couple of months, you don't hear from them again. Why? Because they burn out. What I'm going to show you today is a smarter way. But at the end of this video, you'll transform from feeling overwhelmed with how to get all these multiple sources of income. So you'll be transforming from feeling overwhelmed and stretched thin to having a clear focused plan on growing your wealth step by step and achieve this multiple sources of income. Notice I said multiple. There isn't a magic number for how much income sources you should have. I know when you Google, you might see 7 streams is the magic number, but I'm here to tell you there isn't a magic number. If you keep chasing this myth, you're risking burnout and you'll be wasting time with zero progress at the end of the day. But if you follow this truth, the benefit, the dream outcome is financial security and eventually financial freedom, all starting with what you already got today. Let's break it down. What if I told you the secret to millions start with your paycheck? Here's the deal. Most of us get sold on this idea that we need to diversify income right now. But if you're splitting your energy, how can you master anything? The truth is, it all starts with your job, your main source of income. That salary is your foundation. And step 1 is doubling down on this income. What do I mean? Push for commissions if your job offers them. Hustle for those bonuses. Work that overtime. And don't be shy as you gain competence about asking for a pay increase. Evaluate how you can squeeze every last dollar out of your current job. It's your launch pad. Maybe your salary is $9,000 a month. Negotiate a raise to $9,500 or snag a $500 bonus. And suddenly you're starting to cook. Over time, you're in that. Work on weekends or on holidays, you're there. You're the first man there. When you max out your job and you got that cash flow engine going, and that jet fuel is what will rocket your wealth building. Okay, so you've been competent at your job, your salary is growing, you're maximizing all your bonuses and overtime. Now what? Before you go wild and spend the money on drinks every weekend, let's talk about safety, financial safety. Let's talk about building that financial moat around your resources. You take that extra cash that you're getting from your job, let's say $500 a month, and start building an emergency fund. Stash it in a savings account, or even better yet, a money market account, which will have slightly higher interest. Here's the kicker. Even that emergency fund starts paying you interest. It might be small at first, maybe 2% a year. But at 2%, if you save $6,000, that will earn you $120 annually. And it grows as you add more. You're not just sitting on cash under your bed. Your cash is somewhere and it's working for you. That lump sum is also your cushion for any unexpected life event. That's why it's called your emergency fund. It's your peace of mind. Financial analysts recommend your emergency fund is between 3 to 6 months of your expenses. So you stash that and it sets you up for the next move. And just like that, without doing anything fancy, we now have your second stream of income. This is interest on your cash that you have saved. So now that you got a solid job income, and you have a robust emergency fund that's between 3 to 6 months of your expenses. That's ticking along. You're now ready for the next level. This is where you step into investing. If you guys saw one of my earlier videos, I recommend living your lifestyle at 75% of your income so that you have a minimum of 25% of your income available so that you can invest. You take this surplus cash and you dip into stocks on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. And I'm not talking about day trading. I'll leave that to be the subject of a separate post, the difference between trading and investing. What we're talking about here and what we will always talk about on this channel is long-term investing. Buy solid, reliable companies and hold them for the long term. And when you do this, I promise you, when you do this, watch two things happen. Long-term capital gains when the stock price climbs, and you'll experience dividends coming at you when they pay out their profits. Let me repeat that again. You'll experience two things when you hold good quality companies for the long term. Their capital gains in terms of their stock price will climb, and they'll pay out their dividends to you. That's their profits. Let's say you invest 5,000 in a stock, which has a dividend yield of 4%. That's $200 a year coming back at you. Plus the capital gains growth over time. And what do? You reinvest those dividends. So you add more stocks to your portfolio and let that compound. And slowly and steady, your wealth begins to build. And just like that, you move from just having your salary, your earned income, you have your emergency fund, your cash, and your cash equivalents getting interest income. Now you have delved into stock and you have just added two more sources of income: your capital gains and your dividends. So now where we are, your stock portfolio is humming along. Over time, it slowly builds. And maybe now, after a few years, it's worth $400,000. And you think, I have 4 solid streams right now. What else I can do? Well, you may want to diversify. You may want to take a segment of your stocks, capitalize on those gains, and look for rental property. In Trinidad and Tobago, there are options out there, like those prefabricated houses. You can take 100,000 and put on a down payment for one of those prefab houses, which you will rent out either as short-term, long-term, or Airbnb. Let's say you rent it out for $2,000 a month. You pay your mortgage and other expenses, and you pocket the rest. And that, folks, is another stream of income: rental income. You bought a piece of real estate and now you're renting it out, gaining that rental income flowing in. Your job is still your anchor. You have your emergency fund just in case those unexpected events happen. You have your stocks growing in your portfolio, providing you capital gains and those dividends. And you're taking those dividends and reinvesting it into your stocks, so you're growing your portfolio. And now, just like that, you now have your rental income coming in. Each step fuels the next step. This is how it all comes together. And right there, you have 5 robust streams of income without breaking an elaborate sweat. So let's tie it all together. You double down and maximize your income from your main job. You built an emergency fund, which gives you that financial safety net, which also pays you interest. You grew your stock portfolio, which provides you capital gains and dividends. And you diversified into rental properties, and now you're getting rental income. There are 2 other main streams I'd like to highlight as well. One, you can sell your intellectual property and gain royalties. That's like, say, you sold a book or you had some secret recipe you sold to a publisher and you're gaining royalties from every copy of your recipe they sell, or you open an Amazon like drop shipment, or you buy online and you sell locally, something like that. So you have a business or trade, or you put a doubles man on the side of the road. You have your own doubles business going on. That's a business. So one is royalties and the other one is business income. And right there, my friends, you now have 5 to 7 robust streams of income. You've now got a system. What's the big payoff? You're not chasing chaos anymore. You're not running around helter skelter with Avon products or whatever is the latest hustle in order to implement 7 streams of income at one time. What I just illustrated for you is step-by-step process of how you can establish multiple robust streams of income. And that is what will lead you to financial freedom. Less stress, more options, and your life in your control. All right, before I wrap up, let me just quick fire through some of the various sources of income I mentioned, and I'll add a few more. These are straight from the Income Tax Act from Trinidad and Tobago. That's how they tax you. So they have to identify your income sources and let you know how much tax you have to pay, right? So your first one is your employment income, and we spoke about this. That's your salary, commission, bonuses. That's where we started, right? Then we have your interest from savings, like an emergency fund. You have your capital gains and dividends from stocks in Trinidad. Your long-term capital gains and your dividends are not taxed, and we spoke about that in an earlier video. You have your rental income from property, which we also covered. You also have profits from a trade or business, commission and fees from selling from sales, even royalties from selling intellectual property if you're a creative person. And you have things like farming, mining, annuities, and pensions are also valid sources of income. You can have actually invest in an annuity, pay over time, or if you're a retiree, you have a pension coming in, which is a source of income. So typically, your pension will replace your earned income when you retire. So the point is, there's tons of ways money can flow. It's all about you starting with a solid foundation. And in the case for me, and for most people, it's your job. Most of the billionaires, people like to point out Elon Musk and all these big boys, Jeff Bezos, they had a business. They probably tried at their full-time job and failed, and they dedicated to business. They focused on that one main source of income, and that is what propelled them to billionaire status. They didn't start 2 and 3 and 4 all at the same time. It was a slow process, starting with a solid foundation. Anyway, this video is longer than I really wanted it to be, so I hope you got some added value. Catch you sometime later. Bye-bye.